the local company will get to know the rules and regulation of the country plus the culture, the customers. Advantages, you will actually get all the profit, plus still I'll tell you the disadvantages. If you understand, investment is more, risk is more. Whichever is running, you will take it. That is how the two of the things you can go with the wholly owned subsidiaries. We are going for a joint venture. What always happens is we need to share our technology with them. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Abhilash Chandra from the Department of Business Studies in Vidhyashram PU College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to all the students here, and in this session we're going to learn about a very beautiful topic, and I'll tell you what exactly the topic is. We've already done that is modes of entry into international business. Now, exporting and importing we have done, contract manufacturing we have done, licensing and franchising also we have done this, right? Now if you need to actually watch, that is exporting and importing we have done in session 5, and contract manufacturing and licensing and franchising we have done in session 6. Now we are left with 2 more, that is the joint venture and wholly owned subsidiary. Now I'll be explaining about joint venture and wholly owned subsidiary. Please understand what exactly these things are. So the first one here is joint venture. Now, joint venture is a very common strategy. Now, I'll just tell you in a nutshell what exactly a joint venture is. When we understand the differences, that is, what do you mean by venture? Now, venture means business. Venture means what? Venture means business. When you join a company with a company and then you run both the companies together, that is called joint venture. Now, example I'll give you is, say we have Reliance company, Reliance, and then we have here Airtel, we have Vodafone, and we have Idea. Now, all these are in the communication sector where Reliance is dominating, but Airtel is also not less than Reliance, right? And Vodafone and Idea is also there. Now, try to understand. Reliance, they came up with so much strategy, so many plants, and they started to give their services for free after the demonetization, and that is March 31st, 2017, they started to actually get the monetary benefits from the customers. That is a time when Vodafone and Idea, which were doing really good, they couldn't withstand the huge competition of Airtel and Reliance. Then what they decided is to withstand the competition, to be in the same platform. They thought that let's go for a venture. That is the business. They came with a joint venture, and now Vodafone and Idea, now it is called as VIL, Vodafone Idea Limited. The reason why they went with this joint venture is, though joint venture is always a temporary kind of a contract, but here you need to understand joint venture is very common strategy for entering into foreign market. A joint venture means establishing a firm that is jointly owned by 2 or more otherwise independent firm. So here if you need to go for a joint venture, what happens is Indian company, they need to look for a foreign company and they are supposed to get merged, or they can go with a joint venture. Now, merging and acquisition is totally different. Coming to an agreement where they have one objective, and after they meet the objective, they'll actually come separated. Best example I'll tell you. Now, India wanted to go to an international market, and China also wanted to go for an international market. The same way there was a country called Japan. In Japan, there is a company called Suzuki which wanted to go internationally. So what happened? Suzuki, they came to India and they had a joint venture with Maruti Udyog. Now Maruti Udyog is a Indian company and Suzuki is a Japanese company. Now what has happened? Maruti also has gone to Japan, and now in Japan also we have Maruti Suzuki Productions, which is actually huge in Japan. Now what exactly it is? They went for an international business through joint venture. And here what happens, a benefit I'll tell you more here. The more benefit in the sense you have more capital, more technology, more people who are working for the productivity and efficiency, work will be there. technical know-how. They'll get to know what are the technology they are using, what are the technology we are using. We'll get to know the latest technology, and we can actually make more profit out of more customers. That is, you can reach more customers in joint venture. Now, what exactly happens, I'll just tell you here. Joint ownership venture may be bought about three major ways. The first one is foreign investor buying an interest in local company. There is this foreign investor who can actually buy the interest in local company. Second is local firm acquiring an interest in existing foreign firm. See, one more joint venture I'll tell you, that is India. Let's go with Tata has a company, and the foreign we had something called Docomo. Now there is this company called Docomo, do communication over mobile, that is called Docomo. Now they had a joint venture where we got Tata Docomo. Now they started the venture in 2009, and they had an agreement for 5 years. How many years? They had an agreement for 5 years. The contract was for 5 years. So 2014 they were supposed to get separated. Now I'll not tell you what exactly happened. Even after 2014, they were still in the joint venture. There was a lot of problem between Tata and Docomo. Docomo went to the UK court for the appeal, and later the Docomo was actually taken by Airtel. So I'll tell you more about it, this joint venture, what exactly it is. The first one is foreign investor buying an interest in a local company. The second one is local firm acquiring an interest in an existing foreign firm. The last one is both the foreign and local entrepreneurs jointly forming a new enterprises. Even this can happen in a joint venture. That means there are two foreigners or two localates who really wants to do anything abroad or in the country. So here what happens is, like crisscross, they can make a joint venture and still they can get more customers. So what is the benefit of the joint venture? The advantages are, since the local partner also contributes to the equity capital. See here, you need to understand, contract manufacturing, what happens is the foreign dealer will be there and the local person is there. Now, the foreign dealer will not go for investment of risk. That is what the merit was. But here what happens, since both the parties, they go with equity capital of such venture, the international firm finds it financially less burdensome to expand globally. That is, both the parties have money, and now you don't need to, only one person shouldn't invest, both the party are there. So risk management will be proper, the profit sharing is also proper, as well as the losses will also be shared equally or according to the way they have done the contract. Second is the foreign business firm benefits from a local partner's knowledge. That is, what the local partner have the knowledge of the business as well as the host countries regarding the competitive condition, culture, language, political system and business system. So here, if a foreign nation company, they really want to come and they want to do a business in India, what happens is they always look for the local manufacturers, local joint companies, or any company which is doing really good. When they see that these people can actually have a potentiality of more productivity and innovation, what happens, a foreign company will come and they'll have a joint venture with the local company. When they have a local company advantages, that is, the local company will get to know the rules and regulation of the country, plus the culture, the customers, what exactly the customer wants, what are the needs of the customer. So the foreign company will not even do any research. They'll actually come up and they can be dependent on the local person. But here you need to understand, when I say that they'll not do all these research, let me tell you, every company will do a research thoroughly. But the one thing is what, even after doing so many research, they cannot get the exact research what a local company can get the information, because a foreign country nation, they'll not know what is our culture, what is our kind of a thing, the way the local person will know better. Next one here is, you need to understand, whenever we go with the advantages, the joint venture makes it possible to execute large projects requiring huge capital outlays and manpower. Say I gave you an example of Tata Docomo. Tata Docomo. And then I gave you an example of Maruti Suzuki. Now understand this Maruti Suzuki. Now Maruti Udyog was started by Rajiv Gandhi and Sanjay Gandhi, and Suzuki was started by the Suzuki family here. Now joint venture makes it possible to execute large projects. Now understand how much Maruti Suzuki has been manufacturing the cars in years together. So if you understand it, how did it happen? It all happened because of there was a joint venture between a big company called Maruti and a very big company called Suzuki. So now the money, whenever they go with the outlays of manpower also, many people, they join the Maruti Suzuki only because of job opportunity. There was a joint venture between Haryana government and the Maruti Udyog, where Haryana government thought if they help the Maruti Udyog, then more employment opportunity can happen. Now, that is what really happens. But after 1990s, if you see, till 2020 or 21, if you go with it, Maruti Suzuki is actually growing. The reason is what? They can withstand any competition, plus they can always update their technology. The reason is because of a venture. In many cases, entering into a foreign market is very costly and risky. This can be avoided by sharing costs or risk with local partner under joint venture agreement. So here, if you understand this, we have something called contract manufacturing and all those things. There, the investment is more. Now here what happens, the way you have gone with the ratio, the way you have gone with your memorandum of understanding and article of association, if you go with it, whatever you have shared, that these are the risks which you gonna share, or these are the risks they are supposed to go with, it depends on the agreement which you have done. But whatever agreement you do it, the reality is here what, both the parties will share the profit and both the parties will share the losses. So one person will not get so much burden, the other person will actually be there always for the support of your risk or your profit. So the next one we have is the limitations of joint venture. Now I have given you two of the limitations which are very, very unique. The reason here is the arrangement of dual ownership. Now when there is a dual ownership, what happens is you will definitely have something called, there will be a conflict, and that resulting in the battle for control between investing firm. Now here you need to understand, whoever invests more, it is not that that company becomes his. The thing is, you need to understand about the power of attorney. Now when you go with this, you will get to know that who is a person who should go for decision making and who is a person who should actually listen to whom. When we go with Tata Docomo as an example, now Tata Docomo had a joint venture with both of the parties from 2009, and it was supposed to end in 2014 because they had a agreement only for 5 years, but still Tata were having Docomo after 2014 also. The reason being their own settlement. Now next sessions I'll be explaining what really happened with Tata and Docomo. And the next one is foreign firm entering into joint venture shares the technology and trade secrets. They go with trade secret with local firm in foreign countries, thus always running the risk of such technology and secrets being disclosed to others. That is what it is. See, whenever we have a unique secrets or something which is really in demand, and we have a chance of actually meeting a local company, and then we are going for a joint venture, what always happens is we need to share our technology with them. So sometimes there is always a risk, that is those people can actually share those secrets with somebody else. That is what the limitations, what I feel right now is, there are only two things. There are so many limitations, but these two are very unique. The first one is the dual ownership. If there is there, then definitely that will lead to a conflict. And plus, if you share your secrets with any of the local manufacturer or the local company, then there is always a risk of getting your secrets being disclosed to others. Next one we have is wholly owned subsidiaries. Now this entry mode of international business is preferred by companies which want to exercise full control over their overseas operation. Now, until now, we only went with what, where you have a joint venture, where you have so many. Now it is like wholly owned subsidiaries. That means you want to go and you want to expand your business by making 100% yours. And here what happens is the parent company acquires full control, that is 100% full control over the foreign company by making 100%, what is it, 100% investing in its equity capital. Now yes, even you can go for this. The first one we went with import and export. The second one we went with contract manufacturing, and now we also got to know about joint venture, and the last one here is wholly owned subsidiaries, where 100% investment in its equity capital can also happen. So here wholly owned, what exactly happens is the wholly owned subsidiary in the foreign market can be established in either of two ways. There are first way is setting up a new firm altogether to start operation in the foreign country, also referred to a field venture. What is that called as? A field venture. And acquiring an establishment from a foreign country and using that firm to manufacture and to promote its production in the host nation. So you have two of the ways. The first one is you will actually go and you will buy the entire company and then you will go for it, or you will go and acquire. That is, you will actually go with acquiring an established firm. First you will start by doing it first, or whichever is running you will take it. That is how the two of the things you can go with the wholly owned subsidiaries. Now there are a few advantages of wholly owned subsidiaries. The first one here is the parent firm is able to exercise full control over its operation in the foreign country. That is what the first one, that is if you have taken 100%, so you will be the boss and you can take full control. You can take full control. The second one here is, since the parent company on its own looks after the entire operation of foreign subsidiary, it is not required to disclose its technology. See here, in the joint venture you had the fear about your technology and your trade secrets can be revealed to somebody else, but here when you go with a wholly owned, you don't need to actually disclose anything. You can actually preserve it. But there are a few demerits. Now what are the demerits? The parent company has to make 100% equity investment in the foreign subsidiary. This form of international business is therefore not suitable for small and medium size, because investment is more, right? That is what it is, which may not enough fund with investment abroad. So if you have very less investment, you can't go with wholly subsidiary companies. Since the percentage of company owns 100% equity of the foreign company, it alone has to bear entire losses. See, that's the only reason, because when you go with wholly owned subsidiary, you are supposed to do everything 100%. Advantages, you will actually get all the profit, plus still I'll tell you the disadvantage is, if you understand, investment is more, risk is more. And one more is, this form of international operation therefore becomes subject to higher political risk, because when you have taken 100%, you are supposed to go with two of the laws, that is the law of the land of the host country as well as the foreign country. So both you are supposed to go. Here you will have lack of awareness because you are not a part of that particular country. You are supposed to learn each and everything. You should register your company according to their law. You are supposed to run all the procedure, accounting standards according to their law. So what happens is, it's more of documentation is more, and you will not get any support system the way you get it in joint venture or contractual manufacturing. So these are the things which you are supposed to know, that is the modes of entry of international business. I've done all the modes of entry of international business, and if you have any doubts regarding this, please do call us. We are always there to help you. Thank you so much, students. I'll see you when I see you.